The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. September 2025. After 19 years, the quiet end of this really high-profile, very private Hollywood marriage, it suddenly became the year's biggest financial headline.
Yeah, a true A-list film icon and a massive country music superstar officially splitting.
And the question on everyone's lips, certainly on every financial desk, was pretty simple. Nicole Kidman versus Keith Urban. Who walks away richer?
Welcome to Starscope Report. This is where we uncover the Hollywood drama, the music industry shakeups, and really dive deep into the financial stories behind all that fame.
We're Jamie.
And I'm Jordan. Our mission today: take this pile of sources, the filings, analyst reports, property docs surrounding this massive celebrity split, and, well, figure out what really happened.
Yeah, moving past the red carpet stuff to the, let's say, the sophisticated money story underneath.
And the main finding here is, honestly, it's fascinating. It totally reframes how you look at it.
Right. This wasn't some messy, ugly court battle. Not at all.
No, our sources show this was the cold, precise execution of what analysts are actually calling a multi-decade calculated wealth management strategy.
They didn't really have a divorce in the way most people think of it. It was more like a corporate demerger.
That's exactly the term for it, because you've basically got two huge separate business empires operating within one marriage.
And to really get how well their strategy worked, you first have to grasp the sheer amount of money involved.
Oh, absolutely. The combined net worth estimates, they land somewhere between, a staggering $325 million and almost $500 million, nearly $500 million.
That range itself, $175 million difference, that's huge. It's not just rich. It's like different levels of global wealth entirely.
It is. So let's look at the numbers we've seen. The lower end, the more conservative estimate, puts Nicole Kidman around $250 million, and Keith Urban maybe $75 million.
Okay, but then you see these higher valuations.
Right, and those push Kidman closer to $375 million, and Urban up to maybe $114 million. So why the massive gap?
What explains that $175 million swing?
Well, the lower numbers, they tend to focus on the tangible stuff, right? Assets, cash flows, you can easily track.
Right, the houses, the bank accounts, that sort of thing.
Exactly. But the higher estimates, and this is where it gets really interesting, they bring in the intangibles.
Ah, okay. Things like brand value.
Precisely. Brand equity, something called goodwill. Think about it. When a studio hires Nicole Kidman, they're not just getting an actress.
No, you're buying the Nicole Kidman brand. The prestige, the reliability, the global marketing draw.
Exactly. That trust, that perceived value, plus the future earning potential of her businesses, like Blossom Films, that adds potentially hundreds of millions to her side of the ledger.
And it makes sense when you see their individual earning power. Kidman's been A-list for, decades now?
Consistently. Reports show her netting up to, $41 million in just 1 year, 2024, for example.
And her TV work. Forget about it. About $1 million an episode for shows like Big Little Lies, The Undoing.
Yeah, prestige TV queen. And Urban, he's running this massive country music revenue machine.
Oh, yeah. Touring is the big one, right?
Huge. Reportedly grossing $700,000 a night. So a big 60-city tour, you could be looking at maybe $49 million gross.
Wow. Plus the TV judging gigs.
Yeah, substantial income there, too. Between, say, $3.5 and $8 million per season on those talent shows. These are like individual financial powerhouses.
Okay, so you have these just astronomical earnings, right? But then you look at the public divorce filings in Nashville, and there's this one detail that just jumps out. It's kind of strange, actually, about their reported income.
Yes, this definitely points towards their privacy strategy. The sources say the filings used a standardized monthly income figure, $100,000 a month for both of them.
Which is $1.2 million a year. I mean, it's a lot of money, obviously, but compared to what they actually make.
It's a fraction, a tiny fraction.
So why? Why report such a relatively small number? What does that signal?
It signals they're playing a different game. It's about keeping the real details private. That $100,000 figure, it was almost certainly a deliberate legal tactic.
Just for the paperwork.
Pretty much. Likely for administrative stuff, probably filling out standard child custody support forms. In these ultra-high net worth situations, once the court sees both parents have way more than enough money.
They don't need the messy details.
Exactly. They don't need hundreds of pages of invasive financial accounting dumped into the public record, so they agree on a placeholder number.
Trading, pinpoint accuracy for privacy, and just getting it done efficiently.
Precisely. That's a key takeaway right there. They manage to keep their true financial picture out of the spotlight.
Okay, if you're finding these kinds of insider twists on celebrity finance interesting, you should definitely make sure you're subscribed to Starscope Report.
Yeah, because we've got more pretty wild contractual details coming up, especially this mandatory payment clause we need to get into.
But first, let's look at that asset protection playbook, specifically the real estate. How did they make dividing up all those properties basically invisible to the courts, years before they even filed?
Right, this part is quite impressive. We're talking a global portfolio valued conservatively, maybe $36 to $56 million. We're ignoring that huge outlier figure you sometimes see.
Yeah, the $282 million one seems unlikely for just real estate. So what's in the actual portfolio?
Okay, there's the maid home in Nashville, bought for around $3.5 million back in '08. Kidman's expected to stay there.
That was Australia.
Big time. An aggregate of at least 6 apartments in this one prestigious Sydney building. That's over $27.5 million invested right there.
Wow. Plus Beverly Hills, New York City duplexes, that historic country estate, Bunya Hill, back in Australia.
It's a vast collection, global spread. So the question is, how did they protect that from a messy public fight? Because usually property division is where things get ugly.
Yeah, that's where the lawyers make a fortune, right? Fighting over appraisals and who gets what.
Exactly. But here's the structural genius, you can say. Our sources confirm every single one of those properties was held inside separate legal structures, trusts, or limited liability companies, LLCs, critically not jointly in their own names.
Okay, is that common? Or is it seen as kind of hiding assets?
Oh, at this level, it's considered just smart business strategy. Absolutely.
Why? What difference does the LLC make?
Well, when the assets are inside an LLC or a trust, the division isn't up to a family court judge anymore.
Oh.
It's governed by the contracts within those LLCs, the operating agreements they wrote years ago. The court doesn't divide the house. The LLC agreement already says who gets the LLC that owns the house.
So they basically pre-divorced their real estate years ago through these corporate structures.
In effect, yes. They privatized the division of their biggest tangible assets.
How much time and, frankly, money do you think that saved them compared to a typical celebrity divorce?
Oh, staggering amounts, both time and money. These things can drag on for 5 years, tens of millions in legal fees, just arguing over who appraises the properties.
Whereas they just had to.
I know.
What? Get the court to rubber-stamp documents from 10 years ago.
Essentially, yes. It became a contractual settlement handled privately and efficiently.
Okay, so that's the tangible stuff, the properties. But what about the really tricky assets? The intangibles, like Keith Urban's music catalog. That seems way harder to divide.
And that move was perhaps the single most brilliant bit of pre-divorce simplification.
What did he do?
December 2022. Urban sells his entire catalog of master recordings, 10 studio albums, to a company called Litmus Music.
Okay. And thus, what of that is? Why is that so significant before a divorce?
Because valuing a music catalog during a divorce is an absolute nightmare, a forensic accounting swamp.
Right. How do you even put a number on future royalties?
Exactly. Imagine lawyers arguing about the value of one song 50 years from now. You'd have to project streaming income, global trends, ad placements, until the copyright runs out in, 70 years.
It's subjective, debatable,
and incredibly expensive to argue about.
So instead of fighting over potential streaming pennies in 2075,
he turned it into cash right now. By selling it before filing, he converted this super complex, non-liquid asset into one single, defined lump sum of money.
taking a massive potential conflict totally off the table.
Cleaned it right up. Removed a huge source of legal and financial friction, just, really strategic foresight. That kind of planning defines this whole separation.
Okay, which brings us to the part I think everyone's been waiting for, where all that meticulous planning ran up against, well, unavoidable personal history.
Mm-hmm.
We have to talk about Nicole Kidman's main business, Blossom Films, and that really shocking contractual detail.
Right. Let's start with Blossom Films. Founded, 2010? So during the marriage, it's a marital asset.
But its value isn't just what's on the books now, right? It's future potential, huge hits like Big Little Lies, The Undoing.
Exactly. Emmy winners. And that success landed them a really valuable first-look production deal with Amazon Studios.
So how on earth do you value that in a divorce? It's not like stocks. You're valuing her ability to keep making hits.
It's incredibly difficult. You'd argue about future success rates, the real value of that Amazon deal. But here's the thing. The public court filings. They show no joint assets in that category needing division.
Meaning?
Meaning the logical conclusion, the strategic play, was a private settlement. Kidman kept 100% of Blossom Films. She must have compensated Urban privately for his marital share of the company's appreciated value.
So she bought him out, kept control of her creative engine, paid him for his piece of her future success.
Precisely. Bought certainty, bought continuity for her business. Smart move. But the payment that really raised eyebrows was buried in the prenup. A big, non-negotiable payment tied to sobriety.
This is the shocking fact we found in the reports. Nicole Kidman was contractually obligated to pay Urban millions just for staying sober during their marriage.
Yeah, this clause, sometimes called the cocaine clause, and, less formal reports, it was explicit. $600,000 per year.
$600K a year.
Conditional on complete sobriety. No illegal drugs.
And Urban famously went to rehab just, 4 months after their wedding in 2006?
That's right. And he reportedly stayed sober for the whole 19 years after that.
So the math is just cold, contractual. 19 years times $600,000 a year.
Comes out to a mandatory payment, $11.4 million, from Kidman to Urban.
Wow. And reports suggest Kidman was, not happy about writing that check.
Understandably. Incandescent with rage was one phrase used. I mean, she supported his recovery, right? Which, by the way, protected their joint finances from potential ruin.
And now she has to pay him a bonus for it, just as they're splitting up.
It feels punitive, doesn't it? Even if it's legally required because he met the condition.
Does it functionally penalize the supporting partner? Even if the original intent was positive. Seems like a really emotionally charged final price tag.
Emotionally, absolutely, no question. But from a purely legal standpoint, the payments due. The condition was met. You almost have to see it like a successful insurance premium.
An insurance premium. How so?
Well, the clause was designed, presumably, to protect their massive shared wealth from the financial disaster that addiction can cause. So the $11.4 million payout, while maybe painful now for Kidman,
was arguably cheaper than the alternative.
Potentially far cheaper than the risk it successfully avoided over almost 2 decades.
It really is the one place where all their careful, calculated planning couldn't stop financial and emotional friction, proves that personal injury can still find a way through the tightest legal documents.
Oh, contract worked as intended, legally. But yeah, the human costs, the emotional sting that remain.
Okay, so let's circle back. Our original headline, Nicole Kidman versus Urban, who walks away richer.
What's the final verdict?
Well, our summary suggests the financial outcome isn't really about one winning over the other in terms of destroying wealth. It's more like a controlled transfer.
Yeah, their core earning power, their main business structures, Kidman's Blossom Films, Urban's touring machine, they're both still intact, still functioning.
This whole thing is going to be a case study, isn't it? In how the ultra-wealthy handle asset protection.
Absolutely. By using all those private contracts, the prenup, the trusts, the LLC agreements, they basically sidestepped the public court system.
Took what could have been this long, messy, personal split.
And engineered it into something predictable, efficient, like that corporate demerger idea. They paid for certainty and privacy at every single step.
And the most fascinating takeaway for me, the only real point of conflict that bubbled up wasn't over some complex business valuation or a multi-million-dollar property.
No, it was that clause about personal behavior, the sobriety clause. That's what brought in the final bit of financial and definitely emotional difficulty.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought for you, the listener, right? Where you think about contracts and relationships.
Yeah, in a super high-stakes, meticulously planned agreement like this, what ultimately holds more power? Is it love? Is it recovery? Or, at the end of the day, is it just the bottom line? Finance.
You've been listening to Starscope Report. We're Jamie.
And Jordan uncover the story shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.